Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear Upasakas and Upasikas, today we are going to understand something about Sila. Sila is explained by Lord Buddha in many different ways as the foundation or very basic practice for the development of our mind. Sila deals with our bodily actions and verbal actions, but not just body and verbal, though it is about our bodily and verbal actions, because these actions come from the mind. First, they arise in the mind, and after that, they are performed bodily or verbally. Right? So, the mind which is behind these bodily actions and the mind behind these verbal actions, that is what we are dealing with when we practice Sila. So, this Sila practice is the very beginning of our mental development. The mind purification, mental purification. So, now what is Sila? It is explained very beautifully in Vishuddhimagga, a very, very famous book written in the 5th century by Venerable Acharya Buddha Ghosha. It is actually a compendium, we should say, a very systematic explanation of Sila, Samadhi and Panya as it is explained in the Tripitaka. So he explains everything very clearly based on the Tripitaka Suttas, discourses by the Buddha. And as you all know, Buddhism, the teachings of the Buddha, is also called the doctrine of analysis, because we analyze everything. That means we try to understand minutely in a very precise way. There is no space for vagueness in Buddha's teaching. Everything is so crystal clear, so precise. That is why the whole of Abhidhamma has been taught, which goes into minute details. So also today we will understand analyzing Sila so that we understand its various aspects in a clear way. Not only that, the necessity of the Sila. Because in modern times, some people say, think or even believe that, oh, if we meditate, that is good enough. Sila is not necessary. Sila is of lesser importance. We can choose it or we can deny it. That kind of people are also there. But it doesn't work so. Sila is the very bedrock of our spiritual development. Just like before building this structure, there was foundation. And I was told that when foundation was put, the experts would come here and they check up if the foundation is correctly done, if it is strong enough. So you see, that is why um, it is possible to build a strong structure. You have seen the structures of hundreds of meters in New York and in Chicago. We have seen such high structures. Then imagine how strong is the foundation. So if the foundation is not strong, that structure cannot stand. So also, if the spiritual foundation is not strong, then equally our spiritual progress is not possible. So let us go into these questions, some of the important points. What is Sila? Straightforward first question. We have to understand what is Sila. So Sila is to be understood as mental volition. Sila is mental volition behind our bodily actions, verbal actions, the volition that tells us to do something good and to refrain from something which is evil, bad, unwholesome. So that volition which arises in the mind, that is real Sila. So you can see that we are dealing with the mind. When we practice Sila, we are purifying the mind. We are developing the mind. So Sila is mental volition, that is one, and Sila is restraint. Restraint means control. You control yourself of not doing something. You restrain. No, I don't do it. You stop it. So that restraint you are practicing by different ways. Sometimes you restrain because you have undertaken the precepts. Now you have undertaken 5 precepts. So because you have undertaken the 5 precepts, you restrain from killing or stealing or sexual misconduct or lying or drinking. Sometimes you may not even know why you are doing. Sometimes people may not be knowing the reason why they are doing, but just because they have undertaken the precepts, they restrain. So that is one kind of restraint. Second kind of restraint is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is you become aware. Okay? How do you become aware? You become aware by way of, oh, this is something not good. This is something which is unwholesome. I should stop it. So by mindfulness, you became aware, and that's why you restrain. Then there is another way of reason for restraining. Knowledge. That means you know, oh, this is unwholesome. This will cause some dukkha, suffering as the result. So you restrain by knowing. Then you restrain because of patience. Sometimes you are forced, you are tempted to break a Sila, but you practice patience. Okay, let it be. So by patience also you practice Sila. And then there is restraint because of energy, effort. Sometimes there is big struggle going on in the mind. Oh, I should not do it. But mind is tempting to do it. And then you arouse energy in the mind. No, I'm not going to do it. So like that, you keep away the unwholesome. So now you can see restraint is not a simple thing. We say, oh, control yourself, but then it happens by way of undertaking rules, by way of mindfulness, by way of knowledge, patience, and effort. Right? So this is now Sila. Sila as restraint. The first one I told Sila as volition. Now Sila as restraint. Then there is another part of Sila. Sila as non-transgression. What is this non-transgression? That means you don't transgress. You don't go beyond limits. It is like a framework. It is like a boundary. You put a boundary to your own actions. So non-transgression means you don't go beyond that. So Sila as non-transgression. So you can see how precisely it is explained. Sila as volition, mental volition. Sila as restraint through different mental factors. And Sila is non-transgression. That means limiting your actions within a framework. So now this is the Sila. When you avoid wrong things and when you perform good things, this is all is needed. These are the ingredients that are needed for our mind. Now next point we have to understand is in what sense it is Sila. First one is what is Sila. Now in what sense it is Sila? What exactly it provides? Now Sila is the Adhara. I told you already that. Adhara means like foundation. Sila is virtue, is Adhara for any further development. And Sila is also in the sense of Silana, that is composing. What does it compose? It composes our mental, verbal and physical actions in one line. There is no contradiction between what we think, what we speak and what we act. Okay? So there is composing, non-contradiction, and this is Adhara. This is a foundation for our mental development. Now that is not all in the analysis of Sila. Now the next point is, what is the characteristic of Sila? You see, very minutely, these are small differences, but very minutely we are trying to understand. The characteristic of Sila is what I told now, composing. It composes the mind. You can see that mind is not fragmented. You think something and for the sake of speaking, you speak something else. At that time you speak something another, apart from what you thought. Or when time comes to act, you do some other action. So it is fragmented. So the mind gets fragmented with one issue. So that is where breaking of Sila takes place. Whereas when it is composed, okay, this is wholesome thought. Now in that wholesome thought, I speak. In that wholesome thought, I act. There is no contradiction. This is unwholesome thought. With that unwholesome thought, I will not act restrained. I will not speak restrained. So it follows in wholesome line or unwholesome line in a composed way. That is the characteristic of Sila. You see, these things are very subtle things. I will explain a little bit later about how meditation helps. Now next point is, what is the function of Sila? You see, analysis. What is the function of Sila? The function of Sila is action to stop misconduct. One function. And second function is achievement of purity by right conduct. So when you undertake, say, I don't kill. So the first part is, I am not going to kill. So that is the function of Sila. It makes you not to do that. On the other hand, it makes you to achieve something. It is not just a negative, non-productive function of the mind. It is a very positive force. And what is that positive force? It makes you to achieve certain amount of purity of the mind. And it also makes you to do good instead of killing. Now you change the approach and you will have metta, karuna. So that is how the whole approach is changed. So now this is the function. Otherwise, why should we undertake this Sila? This is the function of the Sila. Now next point. It's so interesting analysis. Really interesting analysis. What is the proximate cause of Sila? That means what makes you to adopt and practice Sila? So the answer is Hiri and Ottappa. Hiri means moral shame. Ottappa means moral fear. Hiri means the shame to commit evil. It is a moral shame and moral fear that this fear is very dangerous. This action is very dangerous. It will produce suffering. Now this Hiri and Ottappa are called Loka Palaka Dhamma. If this word is still protected by some human values, then it is this two qualities, moral shame and moral fear. Not this fear where we get because of this tension, that tension, this kind of worry, that kind of worry. No, that is negative fear. When we are afraid of this and that, that is negative fear. But this is moral fear. Moral fear is you understand, oh, if I do this unwholesome, I will get dukkha, suffering. And if I don't do this wholesome, then I will not progress. Not the shame and fear to do evil and not to do good. That is called moral shame and moral fear. Hiri and Ottappa. And they are the protectors of the world. If you just think deeply, what is that factor which is making people to uphold some human values, some moral values. It is this shame. Oh, it is something not worthy of human life, human dignity. So one feels ashamed. That is why they say, no, we should not do. Right? And also one sees danger. Say if everybody starts killing each other and harming each other, what will be the society? Just barbaric cannibalism will go on. There will be no humanness at all. So this Lokapalaka Dhamma, moral shame and moral fear, are the proximate cause. When you are following Sila, what is the reason? This is the reason. That is the immediate cause. Apart from this is proximate cause, then there are other causes also that you understand deeply, how important it is, you understand its significance for further development. So all these things. So the analysis goes on like this. Now, how many kinds of Sila are there? Well, it is analyzed into many different kinds of Sila in great detail. Now, the first kind of Sila is, but we will understand what is the depth of Sila. We think that it is just following few rules. No. If you see this one, how many kinds of Sila are there, then you will see what it means. Now the first thing is Patimokha Samvara Sila, that is by undertaking rules of conduct, moral conduct. You have undertaken as Upasakas and Upasikas 5 precepts. And then occasionally 8 precepts, Ashtashila. For those who become monks or nuns in the initial stage, they take 10 precepts, Dasashila. And those who become bhikkhu, they have 227 Shila. And those who become bhikkhuni, they have 311 Shila. So it goes on and on. But anyway, now you have undertaken Panchashila. What did you say? Panati pata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. That means I voluntarily undertake samadhiyami. Samadhiyami is very important word. Sang, it is made up of 2 words. Sayang. Sayang means swayam. That means oneself. Adaya means taking. Adaya means in Pali to take. Sayam adayami. Sayang adayami means I take myself. I undertake myself. So it is a voluntary commitment. It is not a commandment. It is not a force inflicted on you. It is a voluntarily you are undertaking. Commitment, not commandment. Because commandments will not work. Say if you say, you should do this, you shall not do this, how long that will work? People may follow for some time and then they will say, okay, let us break it. Isn't it? So how long you are going to control? Okay, some physical things you can manage. But what about the mind? that will not work. So samadhiyami, when it is said, when you undertake samadhi on your own with commitment, then there is dedication, there is such a the very basic, the first precept the Buddha said, killing is such a horrible thing that every being wants to live. We ourselves want to live, but we want to deprive somebody of life. What a very big contradiction. It just doesn't have any logic. When you want to live, then let others also live. So this is so basic. That is why the Buddha gave it as the first Sila. And killing of just not just not killing human beings, or not just not killing some big animals. Every living being has life. Every living being wants to be safe. Every living being wants to live. Now, stealing is another thing. Stealing means taking what is not ours, that which doesn't belong to us. So it is greed oriented. So when you activate greed and put it into action, then greed becomes so strong. So there is now this also creates impressions on the mind, and when it leaves impressions on the mind, that produces results of that kind. If you deprive somebody of something, you are deprived in turn, that's all. As simple as that. You will lose things. You will not get things. So this is how we have to avoid. Instead of stealing, why not give? We spoke in detail about giving dana yesterday. So many different kinds of sharing and giving and the results and all those things. And there is so much of joy in giving. People may think, oh, if I steal, I will be happy. All the people who have stolen things in this world, they might have built their mansions and properties and this and that. But at the end, what was the state of their mind? Did they live peacefully? No. At home, lot of disturbance. With family, lot of disturbance. With their workers, lot of disturbance. With their partners, lot of disturbance. With their business, lot of disturbance. All the time in fear, 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 fear. That is how it creates. The life is created, miserable life is created. So no depriving of anybody of anything. And then there is a third precept, kamesu michachara. That means committing adultery, not being honest to one's partner, which is breaking the very basic human binding. You see, human society begins with a man and woman coming together. And when man and woman come together, if there is no trust, if there is no honesty between them, then how can they build a society? If there is big break or big crack between this man and woman, how can there be peace in a family. And if there is no peace in the family, how can there be peace in the society? The very human society is built up by coming together. So this is the beginning. This is the basic unit of a society. So, Lord Buddha was very clear. Behave like a human being. And this partnership, when correctly followed, that becomes a great source of support to each other to progress on the path of enlightenment. That very partnership will become a great supporting factor. Just imagine that which would have broken your own family and happiness and the societal happiness. That very relationship can create progress. And this is not just by accident that two persons come lifelong together. It means it has really deeper conditions and connections. And these things go on and on for not just one life, but normally for more and more lives. So it is wise thing that you invest your energy and wisdom in developing this partnership into a real Kalyana Mitrata. That means supporting each other to progress on the path of enlightenment. Then there is lying. Lying is, Lord Buddha said, lying is the most dangerous of all precepts. Why? Because in lying, you are turning the truth. So liar may tell killing is also good because he is turning the truth. When killing is wrong, he may say, no, killing is good because of perverted view. That means turning the truth. A liar, when speaks lies again and again and again, turning the truth, that becomes habit, and he looks everything topsy-turvy. Very dangerous. So Lord Buddha said, somebody who tells lies can commit any kind of evil action. He told this in connection with one lady. At the time of the Buddha, many people started becoming disciples of the Buddha. Some other sectarian teachers, they felt jealous. And they said, something we have to do. We have to stop it. Otherwise, our supporters will go there. Our earnings will become less. So then how will we survive? It's a question of survival. So they contacted one lady who was very devout to them. Her name was Chincha. And they told her, look Chincha, you are our devotee. Don't you like that we survive and we prosper? She said, yes. Can you do a favor? She said, what is that? They said, this Gautama, Shramana Gautama, he is attracting and taking away all our devotees, disciples and followers. Now you have to stop it. How are you going to do? They pondered different plans how to stop, They wanted to stop by finding fault with him, saying that he has a lot of money and this and that. But Then they cannot do that because he was a prince. He has renounced everything. He had only one ball and one robe. Apart from that, he had nothing of his own. So simple. So with money matters, with property, always Buddha said, offer it to the Sangha, not to Buddha himself. He also did not receive anything personally. He always said, it is Sangha property, it is the community from all directions. So with property, they can't find any fault. With money, they can't find any fault. With power, they can't find any fault because he was supposed to be king, but he has given it up. So where is this power? No power, no politics, no money, nothing. Then they said, look, Chincha, you can help us. Now you have to do a drama. You have to spoil his name and fame. So Chincha said, okay, I will do that. So she started going to Jetavana. And that also at what time? In the evening. In the evening, when people used to go to Buddha, listen the discourse, and come back around 5, 6 o'clock before it got dark. They used to come back home. At that time, she would go towards the monastery. And then they used to ask, where are you going, Chincha? She said, why do you want to know? I am going to monastery. And then in the morning, it was time for lay people to bring dana, food to the monks. So hundreds and thousands of people used to bring. At that time, she will come from the opposite direction, from the monastery. She did not go in the monastery. She used to go beside monastery and stay somewhere. Then she used to act as if she is coming out of monastery. It was a huge monastery. So then people used to ask, from where are you coming? And she would say, oh, I was with Shraman Gautama whole night in his kuti. So I am coming from there. So she did like that. People did not believe, but she did it again and again. And after some time, she put some clothes on her tummy and pretended as if she is getting pregnant. And after 7, 8, 9 months, she took a piece of wood and she tied it inside. And one day she planned, when Lord Buddha is giving a sermon to a very big crowd on special occasions like full moon day, new moon day, half moon days. On such occasions, people used to flock in thousands and thousands. So that day, even king and ministers and all influential people, all were there. So she went right in front of them, and then she told, oh, monk, you are giving big, big lectures. But what have you done for this baby? This is your baby. Lord Buddha stopped his discourse, looked at her, and then said, Chincha, what is the truth? Only you know and I know. When he said that, she became so nervous because she felt, oh, he knows that what drama she has done, what is there inside. So she became very nervous. And then it so happened that wooden wooden piece, it fell down because strings became loose and it fell down. It fell down on her leg, on her feet. And when it came out, people also saw that. Then immediately some of them started shouting, "You evil woman, get lost from here." And this and that. Some people were even angry. But Buddha said, don't do that. Don't get angry on her. But still some people were so upset. They said, "You get out from here." They just threw something and they chased her out. And as she went out of this Jetavana, there was a big crack in the earth. She fell into it and she died. And Lord Buddha said at that time, look, when somebody wants to lie, they can do any kind of evil things, any kind of drama, any kind of pretension and all these things, because they are just ready to turn the truth. That is why one who lies, that person can do any kind of thing. So lying is very dangerous. It is so simple. It seems to be simple, but it is not simple. So lying. And then drinking alcohol. That also people think is very simple. There is one very famous story. A person was put into some difficult situation. That was a monk. He was caught hold by some people, bad people, and they said, they were against him. They told him, now you are a great monk, you want to live a pious life. We will also see how you will do. They brought one goat. They told him, now you kill it. He said, no, I will never do it. Okay, we will give you another option. Here is a prostitute. Now you should sleep with her. He said, no, never I will do that. Then say, okay, we will give another option. Here is a bottle of alcohol. You drink it. He said, no, I can't do that. Then they said, well, if you don't do any one of them, we are going to kill you. Now he started thinking, oh, what should I do? Should I lose my life or commit one of them? So he thought, killing life, oh, so dangerous. It is too horrible. To commit sexual misconduct, oh, that is also dangerous. My life is monk's life. Drinking alcohol, he thought, okay, this is not so serious. If I drink alcohol, I will become crazy for some time, then it will be okay. Then he drank alcohol. He became intoxicated, totally mad, and then they told him to kill the goat. He killed the goat. Then they told him to go with prostitute. He went with prostitute. He committed all evils because the mind was spoiled. So Lord Buddha's teaching is to make the mind clear, bright, enlightened. And drinking alcohol or taking drugs is exactly the opposite. And today it has become so rampant. Particularly nowadays it's a big tension for the parents. You have seen even young people, young boys and girls, they already start with smoking and such things. Even in the school. And how are you going to control them? And then that will go into next stage. of taking some beer and certain things, and in particularly in Western society, not just Western society, even in East we have, drinking is very common. People drink, the adults drink in the party. If there is any festival, they drink. If there is any kind of special offering, they give alcohol, and here they socialize and drink. They think that is okay. In any case, adults drink, but they want their children not to drink. So that doesn't work. Though there may not be strong influence, but still, unknowingly, subconscious level, that is passing on. In any case, as the children are growing and they become teenagers, and mind is quite already in a way confused, not clear what is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done, because they are exploring everything in the life, new things in the life. So at that time, if there is some bad association, somebody teaches them to take drugs, then they become drug addicts. So now it is so important that we have to make our children understand the dangers and also equip them with strength of the mind. Ultimately, you can't police them 24 hours. And at one time, as they grow up, you have to give them freedom. You just can't keep them under prison. They have to grow, they have to manage their life. But what you can do is give them the equipments, the tools. What are these tools? The tools to manage themselves in a good way. So one is, don't engage in killing business or alcohol business or arms and ammunition and such kind of business, or flesh trade or animal trade or human trade and such things. Apart from that, whatever work you are doing, do it honestly without gimmick and scheming. Do it without talking indirectly and persuading and suggesting and flattery by using nice words and such things. Don't belittle others in your work. Respect others. Don't be hypocritic. Like that, there are some instructions on how to have a right livelihood. So that is also Sila. Now you can see following rules, controlling the senses, and in day-to-day life, you are aware of your speech, you are aware of your mind. So much of awareness you are practicing. And then there is Pachaya Sannisita Sila. That means whatever things you have, how do you use them? Don't be wasteful. Be as minimum as possible. Because in this world we have become wasteful, we have spoiled the world. We have spoiled enough of our environment. We have damaged to such an extent that it is irreversible. Isn't it? It is not only spoiling the beautiful earth, but before we spoil the earth, we have spoiled the minds by greed and disrespect to things, disrespect to nature. So whatever you have, whether it is the dwelling, whether it is your clothes, your food, whatever things you have, use them very, very cautiously, maximum, to their maximum. Don't waste things. So that is also part of Sila. Now you can see the range of Sila extends from uh, from simple undertaking of rules to managing the mind deeply. Okay, and let me tell you just quickly the when you practice Sila, the Buddha says all these are from suttas, but I have picked up from many suttas. Practice of Sila, when you do it for yourself and also encourage others. There are people who practice themselves but they don't encourage others. There are people who don't practice themselves but they tell others to do. There is third kind of people, neither they practice nor they encourage others. They make others also to break. Then there is fourth group which they practice themselves and they encourage others to practice. So be in the fourth group. You practice and you make others also to practice. That is a great meritorious action. And if you want to be really a good friend of somebody, a Kalyana Mitra, then develop in Sila, Buddha says. And when you want to make friendship with somebody, see that that person is also good in Sila. And there are gifts, faultless gifts that you get by practicing Sila. What is that faultless gift? Buddha says these are original, long-standing, traditional, unadulterated, and they are not to have suspicion. They are free from suspicion and they are praised by enlightened people. So what is that gift you get? When you practice non-killing, non-stealing and all these five, you are giving freedom from danger. Whenever you are not killing others, you are giving freedom of danger. Not stealing, freedom of danger. Not committing adultery, freedom of... So you are giving freedom of danger to others. Freedom from animosity. You are giving freedom from animosity to others. And freedom from oppression to limitless beings. So when you practice Sila, you are not oppressing. Instead, you are giving freedom. What a wonderful gift you are giving to the world, to the universe. Now Lord Buddha says, because you do that, you will gain that freedom yourself also. You see, by giving freedom, you get freedom. What a wonderful benefit, isn't it? Apart from that, the Buddha says there are 5 blessings of Sila, and these blessings are: number 1, your wealth will increase. You see, economy is also related to Sila. Wealth will increase. The more good you are, the more good things you practice, your wealth will increase. Now we can see there are so many wealthy countries. Many bad things happen here, no doubt. But when it comes to giving, people are sharing and giving dana so much. Aren't they? Just you announce one flood or one earthquake or something. How many people give? Just go and search how many endowments and foundations are there, charities are there. They themselves run into thousands and thousands and thousands. Forget about these big things. Small, small things. Even in the school, children are sharing. Isn't it? You can see that. So the sharing, giving is going on, which is related to wealth. So, the first benefit is one will gain wealth by giving. A favorable reputation, your good name and fame will spread all over. A confident deportment. You are so full of confidence, you can enter any assembly, any community, any powerful person or any person in the world. Because you have that goodness, you have no fear. You have confidence. And when the time comes to die, you will die very peacefully. That is another blessing. And after the death, you will have a very favorable good birth where you can continue your further practice. So these are the blessings of Sila. Now last very interesting sutta just I will mention, which is very short. Once Venerable Ananda went to Lord Buddha and asks, what is the blessing and what is the reward? Why we should practice morality, Sila? Then the Buddha says, to be free from remorse, guilt. And the Buddha asks, why should we be free from remorse? Then the Buddha says, when we are free from remorse and guilt, our mind is glad, satisfied. Then Venerable Ananda asks, why should we be satisfied? What is the reason? What it will cause? Then the Buddha said, it will bring inner joy. And why should we have inner joy? Then the Buddha said, when you have inner joy, mind becomes calm, tranquil. And what is the use of this tranquility? Why should we have this tranquility? The Buddha said, there will be happiness. Sukha. There will be sukha in our mind. And Ananda asks, is there any use of this sukha? Why should we need this sukha? Then the Buddha says, sukha is the cause of concentration. You see? Note these words. Everything is so interlinked. Sukha is the cause of concentration. And he asks, why should we have concentration? Then the Buddha says, to get the knowledge, yatha bhuta jnana dasana, the knowledge and vision of the reality of as things they are. Yatha bhuta, as they are. To know, experience reality, to understand the reality. That means wisdom. Why should we have this reality of vision and knowledge of reality? Then the Buddha says, when you have this vision of reality, of this mind and body and everything, then you will turn towards Nibbana for the sake of turning and for the sake of letting go the things. When you have this wisdom, you let go and turn. That is the purpose. Then Venerable Ananda asks, why should this turning away, why should this letting go should be practiced? And then Lord Buddha says, to experience the vision and knowledge with regard to vimukti, deliverance, freedom, ultimate freedom. You see, the Sila has taken up to deliverance. So, this is in Anguttara Nikaya in the chapter of tense, I think the first sutta there. So this is what the Buddha said, and he showed us how Sila is related up to enlightenment. So now, after hearing all this, can you underestimate the power of morality, Sila, virtue? No. It is so vast, so deep. So, may the blessings of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha surround your lives with lot of strength and lot of deeper understanding and wisdom, so that you practice very good Sila. May you all be happy. Sukhino bhavantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.